Good afternoon, y'all. What's popping? What's popping? It's your boy Flip. Of course, bringing to you guys this new segment. It's called Boom Bap News, and what we'll do with this segment is we're gonna bring you updates on the artists, anything that it is that they have going on, and then also we'll be bringing to you updates with the channel, and then we'll be talking about some things that's going on in the world that I feel like is very important to address. First thing that we'll talk about is going to be my man's Brodi. Check out Brodi, his track called Sitting Back. We actually I think a couple of weeks ago we added that track to this channel. If you haven't heard it, the link will be in the description. Brodi has gotten 43,000 views on SoundCloud with that particular record, man. So y'all make sure y'all leave comments in the section, let him know congratulations, and then also go check him out over there on SoundCloud, where he has those 43,000 views. Maybe if we can get it up to 50,000, it'll bring more attention his way, and then he'll be able to do more with his music with that attention. Also, shout out to my boy AB. He released the first music video on this channel. Check that out. The link is in the description as well. AB, he has No Ink 4 coming out on June 19th. Once again, we got AB, No Ink 4, June 19th, which means there's 3 more parts to this series that y'all haven't even that you may not have heard yet. So make sure y'all go check out his channel. That link will be in the description as well. But I've heard AB's music. I'm definitely a fan. I've been kind of watching his movement on Instagram for a little while, and I liked where he was going. I saw how he was grinding, and just thought it would be perfect to bring this guy to you guys' attention. So please make sure you go check that out and just give a listen to his EPs, and make sure y'all listen to No Ink 4. I'm sure it's going to be dope. I haven't heard it yet, but hopefully it'll give me a little sneak peek, and I'll be able to review that album coming up pretty soon. And the thing I liked about and the reason why I sighed was because it's a feel-good track. The music video that we just released, you'll see the link in the description, but it was a feel-good track, made me feel good, and that's kind of what we need right now in these times. We need like that feel-good anthem, or something that's going to make us feel better, because of all the stuff that's going on, right? We've already been dealing with the pandemic, been on quarantine now for 3 months and going, and it's always nice to hear something positive when you're going through such a testing time. So just moving on from that and speaking on positive things, it's time to move into some other news of some more negative things that we have going on out here in the world that I feel like really should be addressed. First and foremost, shout out to everyone who is peacefully protesting on behalf of the injustices that we're dealing with as black people, be it white people, Asian people, Latino people, and all the other races that are out there, marching and protesting with us peacefully. Thank you. I think that whenever there's an injustice done to any race of people, all of us should stand behind that race, that particular race that's being attacked, and we should stand for what's right, and right now, of course, what we saw happen to George Floyd was not right. Rest in peace to that man and his family. Condolences on behalf of myself and the Boom Bap Music Channel. It's very sad. It seems like as soon as we come out of, where some of the restrictions are loosening up a little bit, as soon as that happens, another black man is killed by a cop. And we've seen this time and time again. And it doesn't feel any better, and you don't become desensitized to it. Because, see, I am a black man, and I'm raising a black man. And I worry for his safety, and I worry for my safety. I worry for the safety of my family members. You know, I worry for the safety of my friends. I worry for the women in my family that have to potentially bury their nephew, their sons, you know, their uncles, their fathers, due to these killings that are happening, this extermination that it almost feels like that is happening to us and nothing is being done about it. One thing that we have to realize is that it's very important that we vote this upcoming election. We have to forget about Democrat or Republican. We have to vote for whoever is going to pass the agendas, or whose agenda is to pass laws on behalf of us, and not just us, all other minority groups that maybe not be getting the same shake, or and that could go for any race of people. That can even go for white people, black people, Latino people, you know, the disenfranchised, the ones looking on the ones on the outside looking in. We all can relate to injustices that happen because you're not a certain class, or you don't have a certain amount of money, or you don't have a certain education. But in this particular instance, I'm talking about race and what's happening to black people. It seems like we're being targeted, you know, by the law enforcement, and they're supposed to be enforcing law, but they're breaking the law they're breaking the law and getting away with it. And that's the scary part, is that if I were to be killed, I would want justice for my killing. If somebody does something wrong, then just like every black man that is arrested and goes through the judicial system and has to face all these different penal codes and everything, like if we do something wrong, and in some cases when we don't do anything wrong, we are put in jail and we serve our time, and then we come out, and then our lives are even more difficult than it was before we even, you know, step foot into those precincts or into those jails or those prisons. You know, what we have to do is, us black people and those who are supporting this movement, we have to think of ways other than peacefully protesting to pass the laws that are necessary to keep us safe and to keep us protected. We are being killed. We are being killed by police officers very frequently, and it happens all the time. And, you know, almost being in quarantine and locked in, you know, the house for a couple of months was the safest that I felt in a while. You know, not having to, I've been pulled over for following a police officer too closely. I've been pulled over because I was speeding. There was this one time that I was speeding, but immediately the police officer asked to search my car, and then while explaining the reason for searching my car was because usually when someone's driving through here at this speed, they're moving large amounts of drugs, or they're a drug dealer. Now mind you, this night I was going to a party. I was meeting up with one of my boys. This was back when I was back in college, and I had a cardigan sweater on. You know, I grew up in those neighborhoods. I've seen things, I've heard things that have happened, but that's just not who I am as a person, you know. And I got pulled over and was immediately thought of as a drug dealer, as opposed to, you know, them asking me a couple questions, maybe getting to know who I am, and like maybe being able to determine that maybe this guy isn't like who we think he is. Let's just give him a speeding ticket and call it a day. Yeah, we're not getting the benefit of the doubt. I've had my apartment searched after I moved from the town that I lived in when I was going to college, and I got my first apartment when I moved to a different area of the state. And I live in North Carolina. I moved to a different part of the state, and now the police came and they searched my house because I was playing music too loudly, and they could not believe that it was me by myself that lived in that apartment, because I'm guessing it was just a little too nice, you know. So there's really not much expectations that these cops have when it come to us. They're scared and they're acting out of fear. And so let's just make sure that we educate ourselves on, you know, our rights. Let's make sure that we get ourselves, when we're being pulled over and everything like that, let's make sure that, you know, we're saying whatever it is that we need to say to get up on out of there and get back to our families. But let's start thinking about what we need to do as a people to progress in a way where we are given the same rights, we are treated like human beings, and that we are treated like one of God's creations, because that's what we are. We were created by God, and we deserve to be here just as much as anybody else deserves to be here. I want us to think about, like, maybe we need some leadership. You know, maybe we need to think about putting people in place as representatives for our people that are going to, you know, whose agenda is going to be for the betterment of how we're being treated. So, you know, Martin Luther King, he was very impactful. Malcolm X, he was very impactful. They brought a lot of attention to the injustices that were happening to our people. Like, maybe we should think about what it is that we can contribute, because we have a lot of intelligent people in our community, and we have a lot of people on these big platforms that can make a difference. Shout out to everybody that has a platform that is speaking on this and is bringing awareness to this. But what do we do from here? We really should think about maybe having our own representation. You know, not to just not even just to push the agenda for us, but for any group of people that have been disenfranchised and have not been represented. Because I can tell you, there's been times where I felt like my vote would not matter. Nothing, even when I voted for Obama, President Obama. I mean, I feel like he did a very good job. He was cool. You know, we as a culture, we loved him. It was just nice to see a black man in office for the first time during the time where I'm living, and in the prime of my life, I got to see a black man, and I got to vote for this black man to be elected into office. But, you know, did it really change anything for us? Did it change anything? What laws were passed that benefited us? We have to start thinking about what it is that we can do for the betterment of our people. Rest in peace again to George Floyd and you know, condolences to his family. You know, it's a tragedy what happened to that man, and that could have been me. You know, my son is, you know, going to be 6 years old in a couple of days. In a couple of weeks, he'll be 6 years old. You know, and I couldn't imagine him being 18 and I hand him the keys and I let him drive on off, and just to go to the store, something so simple, and for him to not come back home. You know, that would really, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. So, but let's do something. Let's change these laws. Let's stand beside one another, and let's bring the change into our communities that have been needed for a very long time. This is Flip Watts, man. You know, I'm signing out, but you know, I just want everybody to keep their head up, and I want everybody to use this. Let's use this and let's fix this. All right, it's your boy Flip.